Welcome back to UPSC in 8 minutes. The Indian Constitution is literally the longest written constitution in the world. We're talking 395 original articles, 22 parts, and 8 schedules. Today, we are breaking down its entire architecture, from the preamble all the way to the Union Executive, in exactly 8 minutes. No political commentary, zero legal jargon, just pure, high-yield structure for your GS Paper 2 notes. So let's start the clock. Okay, let's dive into this. We are building this constitutional architecture in 5 distinct layers today. First up, the preamble and part 1. Then, part 2 on citizenship. Third, part 3 covering fundamental rights. Fourth, part 4 and 401 on directives and duties. And finally, part 5, the union machinery. All right, starting right off with section 1, the preamble and part I. This establishes the very foundation and the physical perimeter of the nation's blueprint. We start with the preamble. Think of it as the ultimate identity card of the Constitution. It's this beautiful philosophical preface that guarantees India is a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic. And the main goal here? Securing justice, liberty, equality, and fraternity for absolutely everyone. Now, right after that is part I. What's really fascinating here is how Article 1 defines the territory. It famously declares India, that is Bharat, as a union of states, not a federation. This specific phrasing is absolutely crucial because it locks in the physical boundaries. It means India is an indestructible union. No state has the right to secede, period. Building on that, Articles 2 and 3 grant Parliament the exclusive asymmetric power to admit new states, alter boundaries, or change names. And here's the kicker. They can do it with just a simple majority. Memorize this for prelims, guys. Changing the internal map of India does not require a formal constitutional amendment under Article 368. Parliament holds all the cards here. Moving right along to our second layer, Part 2, covering Articles 5 through 11, citizenship. So who actually makes up the nation we just outlined? Well, unlike the United States, which utilizes a model of dual citizenship, India enforces a very strict system of single citizenship. This was specifically chosen to promote national integration, whether it was dealing with migrants from Pakistan or persons of Indian origin abroad at the commencement of the Constitution. And this brilliantly illustrates the foresight of the framers. Article 11 vests absolute power in Parliament to regulate the acquisition and termination of citizenship. This is the exact constitutional anchor giving Parliament ultimate authority, allowing them to pass and amend statutory laws like the Citizenship Act of 1955. Next up, we enter Part 3, which spans Articles 12 to 35, fundamental rights. Often called the Magna Carta of India, these are your enforceable, justiciable rights guaranteed against arbitrary state action to protect political democracy. They act as the load-bearing pillars for citizens. We've got 6 core clusters here: the right to equality under Articles 14 to 18, right to freedom 19 to 22, right against exploitation 23 and 24, freedom of religion 25 to 28, cultural and educational rights for minorities 29 and 30, and finally, constitutional remedies under Article 32. And that last one on the list is the absolute crown jewel. There is a very good reason Dr. B.R. Ambedkar called Article 32 the heart and soul of the Constitution. Why? Because it literally empowers you, the citizen, to approach the Supreme Court directly for writ enforcement if your fundamental rights are ever violated. It's a total game changer. Shifting our focus to the grand bargain of the Constitution, we arrive at Part 4 and 4A, directives and duties. Directly balancing those fundamental rights is Part 4, covering Articles 36 to 51. Borrowed from the Irish Constitution, these are the Directive Principles of State Policy, or DSPS. Think of them as a moral and policy blueprint for the state to establish socioeconomic democracy and a welfare state. To make them a bit easier to grasp, textbooks usually categorize them into socialistic, Gandhian, and liberal intellectual principles, like Article 44's famous call for a uniform civil code. So, the crucial point is this critical distinction right here. Unlike fundamental rights, directive principles are non-justiciable. That means you literally cannot sue the government in a court of law if these policies aren't met. However, Article 37 explicitly states they are absolutely fundamental in the governance of the country. Let's move to Part 4A and see how this builds over time. This covers fundamental duties. Now, fun fact, the Constitution originally lacked a list of duties for citizens back in 1950. That was corrected in 1976 when the 42nd Amendment added 10 duties following the Swaran Singh Committee's recommendations. Later, an 11th duty regarding children's education was tacked on by the 86th Amendment in 2002. Like DPSPs, they are non-justiciable, but they serve as constant constitutional reminders that our rights just can't exist in a vacuum without corresponding civic obligations.
Entering the final structural phase of our breakdown, let's examine Part 5, the Union Machinery, running from Articles 52 to 151. This is the massive mechanical apparatus that runs the state. The Union government is structurally split into 3 distinct branches. First, the executive, from Articles 52 to 78, covering the powers of the President, Vice President, Prime Minister, Council of Ministers, and the Attorney General. Second, the legislature, the Parliament, from 79 to 122, detailing the Lok and Rajya Sabha. And third, the Union Judiciary, from 124 to 147, establishing the independence of the Supreme Court.
Finally, Chapter 5 seals the structure of Part 5 by establishing the crucial auditing framework of the Comptroller and Auditor General, the CAG, under Articles 148 to 151. And that completely rounds out the enormous architectural blueprint of the Union government. We've covered a tremendous amount of ground today. To lock this constitutional framework into your memory, let's end with a quick micro quiz based on what we've just discussed. Consider these 2 statements. Number 1, the power to alter state boundaries lies with the president. Number 2, fundamental duties were part of the original draft of the 1950 Constitution. What do you guys think? Drop your choice, only 1, only 2, both, or neither, down in the comments section. It's a fantastic way to test your attention. That wraps up this structural breakdown. If you want to keep mastering topics through clear, high-yield formats, make sure to follow along for more. I'll see you in the next one.